Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We are told that the Russians invaded Ukraine unprovoked and really in an irrational way. It's just because the Russians are imperialistic and they want to, Putin, in his own imbecility, wants to put together back the Soviet Union. This is the shallow, below 86 IQ narrative the mass media is trying to have us ingest. Okay, well, if that is the case and the Russians invaded Ukraine, which is a fact, right? Invaded Ukraine, that's one country invading another country, and we're told that that is bad. It is bad. Why? Because there are mechanisms put in place when a country can invade another country. And if I remember correctly, there's two occasions or two scenarios. Setting aside I'm attacked and I am defending myself like the state of Israel. So in this case, it was not mandated by the United Nations. Usually, United Nations, votes for a resolution stating that military intervention is needed because genocide occurs in whatever country and so on, or simply if one country is really able to prove an imminent attack on them, and then they have to somehow strike first or something like that. I am not an expert in international law, but I'm not an imbecile either. So if that is the case, the Russians said, you know what, we had to because we had to protect the ethnic Russians in Ukraine who were attacked and slaughtered, genocide, the Russians claimed, by the guys in Kiev, at the hand of the Ukrainians. That was the Russian justification. Leave aside NATO expansion and all that. So this was their legal basis, whatever it is. Now, if that was bad, and we are supposed to say that it was bad, then what did the Americans do in the past 34 years? Well, I'm going to go from Adam and Eve, the imaginary, science fiction book that some people revere so much. First, they struck Iraq, right? And Saddam Hussein. Then it was the war in Yugoslavia, which was did not fall under any. They said it was genocide and so on over there occurring, and NATO, the defensive alliance, had to react. Okay. Then it was Iraq war based on a lie. Then it was Afghanistan. Then it was Libya. Then it was Syria. Then it was Iran. Now we have these guys at it in Ukraine. Okay. Well, what happened since these guys invaded Ukraine and Trump showed up? Well, so far, the good Americans threatened a democracy, NATO member state, European Union member called Denmark, with taking part of its territory, Greenland. So the Americans said, we need it, we're gonna manage it better than you do. Remember, Denmark is not considered a dictatorship, did not attack anybody, but the Americans consider that we need that, we are going to take it. All right, the Americans struck Iran. Iran did not strike us, not at all. Well, the Americans also struck, if you remember, the Houthis. The Houthis not attack us, they attack someone else. All right? The Americans also attacked in Syria. They had Syria under occupation. They deployed troops in Syria, and they were sucking Syria's oil for 9 years already, or something like this. They had about 900 people over there deployed in northeast of Syria. Remember that one? Illegal. They had no UN mandate, no genocide occurring over there. All right. Now we see the Americans threatening Venezuela to just destroy the cartels in Venezuela. And now, including an invasion in Venezuela, and this article that I have ready for you, it's not only Venezuela, it's also Mexico. So Trump gets ready to deploy troops U.S. troops for ground invasion in Mexico to go after drug cartels. Report. Now, when I saw Claudia Applebaum, not Applebaum, what her name is her name? What's her name? Steinbaum, isn't there? Scheinbaum. When I saw her, when she won the elections in Mexico, she's Jewish, Jewess, to make it feminine. When I saw that happening, I was like, the Mexicans are safe from Trump because Trump will not touch them. Why? For obvious reason, Trump is the tool. But then I said, well, okay, but what is Miss Scheinbaum gonna do? Is he going to give America Mexico on a silver plate? Or she's gonna put Trump in his place claiming, hey, I'm a Jew, you can't touch me. And the Mexicans are like, we checkmate the imbecile. We got the kryptonite. Which one is it? Now remember, Mexico is an independent sovereign country. So is Venezuela. So is Iran. So are the guys in Yemen. All right? So are the guys in Libya used to be. The guys in Iraq, the guy in Afghanistan, the guys in Yugoslavia. All these are attacks by the United States of America. And I'm supposed to cry for the Russians attacking Ukraine. And I'm supposed to consider the Russians being the bad people here, but the Americans are somehow the good ones. Under what kind of right these guys in Washington, D.C. claim that they can go and deploy troops in someone else's neighborhood? Not neighborhood, household. Because if there is an international law stating that any country can do that to another country, then I don't know, China could deploy some troops in Hawaii. Or I don't know, the Russians can deploy it in Germany or in Great Britain or England. Hopefully they will. Why? Pacify the imbeciles there. So this is what these guys are doing, and we are supposed to look at it as a normal thing or something. Trump radios to U.S. troops for ground invasion. Now, she is over there for a reason, obviously. And the reason is that's his kryptonite, or she is his tool of the same masters. One of the two, or both, right there. The Trump administration has started planning for on-the-ground military and intelligence operations in Mexican soil to pursue drug cartels. Can the Chinese pursue the drug cartels and the criminals in Chicago, Illinois? Can they do that? Or maybe go to Washington, D.C. and pursue criminals around a certain kind of area? Can they do that? Whatever they perceive as being. Can they do that? Of course not. But these guys can. The reason why I made this video is not to bash America. It's to let people know that those guys in charge of them are pieces of shit. And they're going to use you to pursue their interests. And when you go to, we're going to go, let's say, to Cancun, Mexico, you may be abducted by some guys who hate America. But they don't hate you. They hate those guys, but they equate those guys with you. You understand? That's my whole purpose. I don't want that to happen. Now, if we are to be true and objective and just, this is a crime. This is abuse. We should call it as it is. Now, if you are an American and I'm an American and we are pieces of shit, we say, God damn, so bomb the shit out of them. What do I care? Take any resources they have. Now, that would not make us good people, that's for sure. All right? The same with Iraq, the same with Afghanistan, the same with Libya, the same with Syria, the same with Venezuela. No, that's not good people who do that. And I'm supposed to cry, oh my God, Putin invaded Ukraine because he just wants to build the Soviet Union and he wants to take over the world. Really? One example, and he wants to take over the entire world, and the other guy has about, 8 that I just mentioned in the past 34 years? I mean, really, these guys are își bat joc de noi. This garbage, and the media will cover for Scheinbaum, don't worry, and for Trump, both of them, whatever they want. These guys are just make a mockery of us. That's what they do, man. And you know what the thing is? They know we can't do anything. They buffaloed us, as Dr. William used to say, buffaloed us in believing that you have to work within the system. And that's the elected officials. They are our leaders, not the public servants. They are our chief of, how do they call it? Commander-in-chief. He's the leader. He's not a public servant, your employee. You see how they turn it? And you can't do anything until you wait 4 more years, 3 more years, until he goes for re-election, or someone else is going to be placed over there for you to, how do you call it, validate. You will just validate them. And even if we don't validate it, they say we validate it. They can say what the fuck ever they want. My point is this. I'm sick and tired. I feel like vomiting when I hear this kind of hypocritical representations of the United States of America. Someone said, and I'm going to tell you who that was. It was a guy who worked in the security services in Romania, in the communist Romania. He said, you know who the biggest liars and the biggest criminals are on this planet? I said, nah. He said, yeah. Ah. And with time, I realized that if you look in the history, you can't find another country sticking its tail in everybody else's business as this one. None, zero. Maybe Great Britain. Great Britain right now is England that is a bankrupt country, is a weak country. But before it was stuck its tail everywhere. There's no other country. No, you cannot. Germany, what? France, what? Belgium, Denmark, what is it? China, Russia? It's only one, by far. And is it good? Look how many wars these guys started in the past 34 years that I'm conscious of, that I know. I lived through them. And I'm supposed to, the drug cartels. These guys are just running a mockery of us. They sell us things so obviously idiotic. If tomorrow they designate you as a whatever, they make a term, tsuku. And the tsuku is bad, very bad, it tells. And you are a tsuku. Why? Because the government designates you as a tsuku. You're toast, done, fuck off. You drive your car, boof, a missile. A tsuku was shot. And the media will cover. Is that the way it works? This is a criminal organization. What's going on here? And one of the wake-up calls that the American people should have had, the ones that have at least half of a brain, would have been the COVID mandates. That was tyranny 100%. Mandates and all that. It was mockery of your own intelligence. They were insulting your intelligence, putting that fucking mask. They can breathe in, stopping the microscopical whatever were coming from COVID germs or whatever they were called. Spores or something. Really? I mean, for me it was idiotic. For me, not follow the science. That was the science, my friends. All right, and so on. So that was the drill. And they saw how far they can go. They want to see how far. And you know how far they went? They had Biden being the president of the United States of America, a semi-conscious individual, most of the time, living in the crypt in the basement of the White House, pumped up with all the drugs and all the suppositories in his ass, nostril, and around his chest and all that, prompted for about 15 minutes and he still couldn't operate. That is the lowest of the lowest. You know what? There's 2 more steps to that. To where Biden got. The first one, a day in coma, and the other one, a dead person. This is it, man. We got 2 more steps, 2 more squares to win the imbecility conquest of the world. That's where the United States of America. I mean, don't you think that people in the West did not know Biden was not there? We all knew that. It's just you have to look at him empirically. You don't have to, let me see the doctors. What the doctors say, found the sign. Those doctors, they were not doctors. They should have lost their license in a real world, in a true world, and be arrested and put in jail. He's a sturdy octogenarian. I don't see him diving like a goalkeeper all the time. So America has 2 more steps and we're really done. A guy in coma being the president and signing documents while in coma. Okay? And the other one, a dead person being the president of the United States of America. I know, like Lenin in a fucking crypt. Or I don't know what's her name. Can't remember her who fucked the other guy. Maybe actually. What? Perón. What's his name? Perón? Eva Perón. Mummified and whatever. She was a. Anyway, just so you know, you don't believe me? Read a little bit about Eva Perón. She fucked that guy. What's his name? Sarkozy. The most dangerous person in Europe. Remember the guy who saved. Jesus Christ, Il Duce from the mountains. He saved him. What's his name? Sarkozy. The guy who fled and he just broke up with a British and company who ended up in Argentina and he died in Spain. Remember his name? All right, if you don't, go and check him out. The guy with a big scar right here. Okay. So my friends, Sarkozy, whatever his name was, I can't remember. So this is the level. And I'm supposed to what? What am I supposed to do? Because I know that if I agree with them, that makes me a participant in a crime. And I know if I'm talking like this, I'm gonna be Bibi Netanyahu. Yeah, I'm gonna be blamed as being, oh my God, you're a hater. You hate America or something. Yeah. Really? Who hates America? You allowing them to continue being criminals, or me, who wants to point that out and try to change the behavior to something better? Which one is better, you or I? The people who shut the fuck up every day and go to work and don't care? Or I am who putting my life in, in harm's way? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.